It's honestly scary to be invested in XRP right now. As an investor, if you want to take advantage of real opportunities, if you truly want to get ahead of the curve and generate great profits, you have to take on risk and embrace uncertainty. Economic, political, macroeconomic, fiscal, you name it. That uncertainty will walk with you if you choose to invest seriously for the long haul. There will never be complete calm. And if there is, it'll be temporary, gone in a flash, forcing you to stay alert and adapt. That's why in this Saturday video, a bit more relaxed, I want to show you, not explain, show you in detail why I trust XRP, why I'm confident in crypto, blockchain, and certain altcoins focused on fixing the broken infrastructure of the current financial system. For those of us who can see and understand what I'm about to show, our financial situation in the near future could be completely transformed. I know uncertainty right now around the Israel-Iran conflict is heavy. But let's be real. If it's not this, it'll be something else. It always is. Today we've seen more evidence of U.S. involvement in the bombings. There's a tweet from Franda Alza I'd like to walk through because it perfectly captures what's going on. Beyond the wars and conflicts, we're witnessing multiple converging events. And let's not forget, we are living through one of the biggest financial system shifts in human history. It will be written about in textbooks, if those still exist in the years to come. The tweet outlines the stages of the next global liquidity crisis. Stage 1, international conflict, we've got plenty. Stage 2, oil price surge, already happening. This new escalation between Israel and Iran sent oil up 8 to 10% in hours. Then there's Japan raising interest rates to unwind carry trades. That's already announced. Bond trouble in the US? Already happening. 2 recent auctions went without buyers. The Fed had to step in and buy them, inventing new money and hurting savers. Then we have the Stablecoin Act, which next week will face its final vote after hundreds of previous rounds. That legislation is a massive unlock for us. Tether in trouble? I used to think so, not anymore. I think Tether will adapt and play its role. Liquidity issues globally will keep unfolding. Stock market corrections? Always happening. The market is sensitive to everything, especially crypto, which reacts sharply to liquidity shifts. Yet markets are still holding strong. Next, XRP ETFs being approved at some point. We'll get into that today. Then we have a potential XRP supply shock already in motion. We've seen companies, even some NASDAQ listed, announce XRP purchases for their treasury. Every week we get 2 or 3 more, and it's going to continue. And then there's the adoption of blockchain and DLT. That's also happening. Now I'm going to show you what's really going on. Please watch this to the end. Your whole outlook will change. By the time you finish, it won't matter what news drops. You'll know where things are headed. And hey, this video took work, so if you find value in it, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin with the words of Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, speaking clearly on blockchain and stablecoins. He's laying the groundwork. Let's listen. We will closely analyze the regulatory obstacles for blockchain, stablecoins, and new payment systems, and we will consider reforms to unlock the full potential of U.S. capital markets. Americans deserve a financial system that works for everyone, especially everyday people. Now let's hear from David OSX, the U.S. White House AI and crypto czar, on the stablecoin legislation and why it's actually happening. We're on the brink of getting stablecoin legislation passed through the Senate. The Genius Act cleared a major hurdle with a successful cloture vote, meaning it got over 60 votes and can't be filibustered. It's going to the president's desk. This is huge. We're entering a transformative moment for crypto. Once stablecoins are approved, market structure legislation will follow. Now that you've heard from 2 top U.S. government voices aligned with Trump's team, let's move to Monica Long from Ripple, speaking at the recent Apex XRP Ledger event. She dives into real-world signals of blockchain adoption. Adoption is about more than volume or cost savings. It's about people using their wallets as their main financial tool. That's already happening in emerging markets. People aren't just investing, they're saving stablecoins, paying with crypto at stores, and moving toward a single, unified wallet. One wallet for everything. That's the future. And adoption is faster in emerging markets than developed ones. But the shift is coming. Crypto infrastructure is simply a better base for building financial services. Stablecoins prove that. And once other assets go on-chain, it'll be undeniable. Right now, you can't move stocks from one brokerage to another without selling. Blockchain fixes that. Interoperability will unlock everything. The future is seamless and on-chain. So what's still in the way? Regulation. But the US is improving fast. Outside the US, we're already seeing it. The roadblocks are falling away quicker than people expect. We're reaching escape velocity, and institutions are finally open to public chains. A decade ago, banks were terrified of public blockchains. Now, Ripple was ahead of its time, but today the tech is robust, the regulation is clearer, and institutional FOMO is growing. It took time, but we're here. The industry fought hard, Ripple especially, and we're at a turning point. Now Monica shares how banking conversations in the US have radically shifted, especially since launching Rust. Clarity is finally arriving in the US, and Ripple's long vision of frictionless, cheap, global money movement is becoming real. Next, Robert Nick, BlackRock's head of digital assets, speaking at a closed-door conference. These events don't make headlines, but this is where the big players align. For BlackRock, tokenization is about access, cost, and future liquidity. Institutional custodianship needs to mature. A big exchange launching a tokenized trading platform would change everything. And legal clarity is key. Tokenized bonds need to be treated like bonds, tokenized ETFs like ETFs. Focus is finally arriving. Markets are honing in on key asset classes and geographies for tokenization. That will accelerate adoption. Now let's talk ETFs. Ripple adoption by the traditional financial world is happening. Fox Business, Canary Capital, and Bitwise leaders share exact timelines. XRP ETFs are likely this year. Key deadlines? October. There'll be headlines along the way, but October is what matters. Bitwise has an index ETF with 5% XRP exposure and expects to uplist it. Index ETFs are the biggest. This could bring enormous capital to XRP. Financial advisors are warming up. Every week, $5 to $10 billion are becoming crypto eligible. The Department of Labor opened the door for 401k funds to include crypto. The flows are starting. The world's wealth has 0% crypto exposure. That's going to change. We're entering crypto's real-world golden age. The 4-year cycle is less relevant now. Infrastructure is ready, and the floodgates are opening. Ripple's long battle may finally pay off. Now Greg Kitt, ex-Fed official and Ripple pioneer, shares his vision. He bought a US bank to put the dollar on-chain. Imagine FDIC-insured dollars, with fraud protection running on blockchain. That's his mission, and he's working on legislation to enable banking licenses for payment-focused firms. In the future, banking access should be like breathing, universal and free. With a supportive administration, it's becoming possible. He wants dollars, pounds, and euros running 24/7 on-chain. And yes, Ripple could eventually acquire traditional firms and bring them into the new world. Next, we hear from Digital Perspectives host and former CFTC head Chris Giancarlo. They discuss the idea of government-issued crypto-backed bonds and how the US is quietly building a strategic crypto reserve, just like oil. Other countries are preparing for dollar alternatives, and so is the US accumulating crypto is part of that strategy. If they ever sell, they could control prices the way they do with oil. This isn't new. Egypt stockpiled grain. China does it with commodities. The US should too, with crypto. This isn't hype. It's reality. And if you've watched this far, I hope it gives you calm in the middle of chaos and helps you understand where your investment in XRP truly stands. If you appreciated this, a like is appreciated, and I'll see you tomorrow.